Okay,
We'll keep it orderly. Your first Steven.
Thanks, Josh. So you talked about costs, you talked about gas prices and grocery prices. What are some first-year actions you will take to lower costs on these?
I think one of the best things we can do to lower costs is we've got to end this war in Iran. That's one of the best things that we can do. Secondly, I think that we can put guardrails on insurance. I mean, insurance rates are skyrocketing. I'm someone that believes that doctors should be deciding care, not insurance companies. We've seen one of the stats I didn't give up there. In terms of crop insurance rates and home insurance rates, I was actually number 2 behind Colorado. We're seeing a 94% increase in insurance costs. I think that we can do some things on lowering grocery prices. I think we can outlaw price gouging for housing. I'm someone in the Iowa legislature ran a bill to put a 5-year moratorium on private equity to be able to buy up single-family homes. There's a lot that we can do, but certainly for gas prices, we've got to end this war in Iran, absolutely. This is what's leading to the cost of not only gas, diesel, but also fertilizer prices. And I'm telling you, having traveled the state for the last 99, like all 99 counties for the last year, I'm hearing small family farmers saying, looking at these input prices, looking at fertilizer prices, they're worried about going, I mean, they're already upside down in their commodity prices. They're worried about legitimately going into foreclosure, and we're already leading the nation with foreclosures.
Hi. Anyone over here? Questions? Okay. We'll go here, okay.
You have talked about the Farm Bill, and it happened partly, mostly because Democrats didn't vote for it.
Yeah.
Why do you think it should have been?
Because something I've learned in the Iowa legislature is you never get 100% of what you want. And I don't think that we should let perfection, are there some flaws in the bill? Yes, absolutely. I think one of the flaws is it benefits far too much the southern farmers, not necessarily the Iowa farmers with corn and soybeans. But I don't think that we should let perfection stand in the way of progress. We're already 3 years overdue. Our Iowa farmers are hurting, and so I would be in favor of moving that along, because as I've been traveling the state, I'm hearing more and more and more. I'm really concerned that we're going to lose what remains of our small family farms. Our rural communities are already being hollowed out, hurt. As I've been going through these rural communities, we've lost 160 pharmacies, independent pharmacies, largely in rural communities. You heard that's just because of lack of PBM reform. You heard my number on how many healthcare clinics we've lost. We've lost 18 rural schools just since we started the voucher program. To have a functioning rural community, you've got to have grocery stores. Well, the SNAP cuts hurt that. You've got to have pharmacies. Lack of PBM reform hurts that. You got to have healthcare clinics. Certainly, this is the down ballot effects of Medicaid cuts, and you got to have functioning public schools. I'm seeing rural communities that are absolutely being hollowed out. We got to pass a farm bill.
We've seen a lot of administration officials descend to Iowa in the last couple of days. The SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler is here, along with U.S. Trade Representative. We had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in the state earlier, promoting the Republican tax cut policies, and specifically talking about Trump accounts, the benefits to families, some of the other tax provisions in there that are benefiting Iowa manufacturers. I guess, how do you respond to that, and the benefits that they're saying that families are going to see from these tax provisions, manufacturers will see from that?
Yeah, sure. One of the reasons why they're here is because they're recognizing what we're recognizing, that this state is ready for change. And so I think you're going to see a lot of folks coming in here to Iowa. They're seeing what we're seeing, that we can win this U.S. Senate race, and I think they're concerned about that. In terms of the policies, when you throw everything into one big beautiful bill, you have some things you agree with and some things you disagree with. I've been very open and vocal that I'll work with anyone, including President Trump, on issues. I agree with him that we should have no tax on tips and overtimes. I agree with him that we need to drive private equity out of housing. I'm willing to work with anyone across the aisle. One of the things that I'm the most proud of in my time in Iowa legislature is I was one of the most effective, and I've been one of the most bipartisan. I think that's what's missing. I think, honestly, that's what Iowans want. More than Republican versus Democrat, they want someone that is willing to go up there and work on bipartisan solutions to people's problems through policy. That's the problem right now. It's too tribalistic. It's this party over country mentality. What we've got to get back to is country over party mentality. That's who I am. That's what I've done in the Iowa legislature, and that's what I'll do up in the U.S. Senate.
Josh, the DNC is voting this weekend to keep Iowa again out of the early states in the 2028 presidential primary. Some local Democrats say the DNC is betraying the Midwest by their decision. What are your thoughts on that?
I made my position really clear on that. Iowa law is clear. We go first. And so I'm in favor of the Iowa caucus continue. I don't know if you saw my video that I did with President Obama, but he came out, he said that out of everything he did during his entire campaign, the Iowa caucuses were his favorite. So Iowa law is clear, we go first. I believe we go first.
Can you just speak briefly to the Republican criticism of you that we've been hearing that you've missed more than half the votes of the Iowa House this year?
Once again, well, I was around meeting Iowans all over the state. Something that I'm very, very proud of is my time in the Iowa legislature. One of the most effective, one of the most bipartisan. Ashley Hinson has already also missed 193 votes in her 6 years up in Congress. It's more votes than I have missed. And so, you know, look, when I joined the Iowa legislature, I was told, you'll never get a subcommittee, you'll never get a committee, you'll certainly never get anything signed by the governor. And I went out there and I worked really, really hard behind the scenes, the kind of work that nobody will ever see or hear from, to find strange bedfellows, build relationships across the aisle, and I was able to get a lot of policy to the finish line. That's what's missing in DC. That's exactly the kind of senator that I will be. And I'll also say this, my whole entire life story is about working hard. I didn't win my gold medals by not working hard. Trust me, you can go and talk to any one of my teammates. I was one of the hardest workers. And also, to win the election that I won, I represent 2 communities. Trump won by 18 points and 10 points. I went out every single day, rain or shine, hot or cold, drug my wheelchair upstairs to knock doors. In the Iowa legislature, I worked incredibly hard, and anyone that is being intellectually honest would tell you I was one of the hardest workers up there. I'm proud of my time in the Iowa legislature, and in the U.S. Senate, you'll get somebody who's going to work hard each and every day for Iowans, not for the billionaires and large corporations.
We'll go to Natalie right here.
I guess this was your response to Ashley Hinson's bill that you recently filed in Congress, wanting more transparency for higher authorizations for handling.
I agree that we need more transparency for insurance, without a doubt. You know, I don't know how many of you have heard me tell the story, but I've been saying the whole time that I've been on the trail that we have to have doctors deciding care, not insurance companies. And my sister was diagnosed with cancer nearly the day that I launched my campaign. She was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And her private insurance came and said to her, because you have stage 2, not stage 3 or stage 4, we will not cover the PET scan to see if cancer spread to other parts of your body. So I absolutely agree that we need more transparency and we need more guardrails on insurance companies. But I also find it fascinating that, you know, she voted against the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually would have put some serious guardrails on there on things like negotiated drug costs and actually caps on things like this. So I don't think that her voting record necessarily speaks to consistency on that issue.
Anybody else?
Or
Go in the
Belin?
back.
You were critical of Senate Democrats for blocking that farm bill from coming out of committee. Most of the Democrats in the Senate take the position that it would be better to keep extending the 2018 farm bill than to pass a new farm bill that has big cuts to food assistance and legal immunity for pesticide and herbicide manufacturers. Why are they wrong?
Because as I've been traveling the state and going into all 99 counties and meeting with farmers all across the state, they're legitimately struggling. And I think, again, I don't think that we should let perfection stand in the way of progress. And over and over and over, as I've heard from farmers, we need to pass a damn farm bill. And I am genuinely concerned that we are heading towards a farmageddon, a second farm crisis. And I've just been hearing over and over and over from farmers looking at their margins right now. They're already upside down on their commodities prices. You know, I'm not sure these markets are coming back. Trump gives $20 billion to Argentina. So I'm hearing over and over farmers telling me we have been betrayed. And so I think that we needed to pass the farm bill. Again, I learning from my time in the Iowa legislature, you're never going to get 100% exactly what you want. I think we work together in a bipartisan manner, and I think that it would have been some level of progress for our farmers. We're way overdue, 3 years overdue. Our farmers need the help now because we're gonna lose a way of life. We're gonna lose the last generation of small family farmers that we have.
Okay, that'll do. Thanks, folks.
Thanks everybody. Enjoy the fair.